So now we've got a sketch made that we're going to have to put into AutoCAD for a totally scaled drawing. And that's how we're going to print out our final drawing also. That's how most firms most professional firms will produce their drawings is on the computer using a software like AutoCAD. So we've got our sketch already, and what we're going to do now is just begin the preliminary drawing of it. So I'm going to start with our curved wall, all right? The way that I'm going to draw this, and again, there are all kinds of ways for anybody to do most drawing in CAD. I'm going to start with just a circle. I'm just going to click and drag a circle out, and so this arc is going to be um, the glass block wall, and we're going to offset that. And what offset does is we specify a certain dimension, so we'll call it maybe 5 inches for the thickness of our glass blocks. Then we'll click on the circle, and it'll create another circle that's exactly 5 inches apart. Now we'll trim that out. TR is the shortcut for trim, and we'll select these two as cutting lines. And there's our arc. I'll do another trim to just keep that. So, all right. So there's our preliminary drawing of that glass wall that we'll put some LEDs in. And maybe, you know what, I like to make a new layer for these to go on. Layers are a good way of managing information in your drawing. So we'll call it A dash, I don't know, glass wall, or just A dash glass. A is this is just a standard that's used in the professional world. A stands for architecture, so this is just architecture drawing. In a lot of professional offices, you'll see things that start with S, usually for structure. Those are things like steel beams or columns. You'll also see M or E or P. Those are for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. But A is just the category. This is a glass wall, and I don't know, maybe we want the color of that to be, instead of white, let's make it cyan. The sweet lighting that we're going to put it on. So now what we do is, in order to assign it to the glass layer, we click there. Alright, we're back to drawing. So there's that. I've also already set up a couple blocks, and we're going to drop those in. We already modeled those beforehand. So if we go to Insert Block, we've got things like a wheelchair radius. I've already loaded up the jacuzzi. I spelled that wrong. But we've got the wheelchair radius, so let's hit OK just to see if that'll work. And yes, it looks like we can turn around. That's a safe wheelchair turning radius. So this is a legal glass block wall. So let's also load the block for our jacuzzi. So we'll go to Insert Block. Oops. That's how you load, actually. If you create an AutoCAD drawing and then hit Browse, you can load a different drawing, and it'll treat it as a block in your current drawing. But we've got the jacuzzi drawn, so I'm going to hit OK. And now that uses the center of that as a midpoint, so I'll drop that in. And now we want to move that again, so I'm going to type M. M is the shortcut for move. And the triangle means we're at the midpoint of the line, so we'll move that to the midpoint of that recess, and that fits perfectly because that's the way that it's modeled already. It's modeled to fit inside of there. And let's do the same thing. We've got a roll-in shower. So again, block, insert, and we'll load our roll-in shower. Now the base point for this is different. It takes that back right corner, and so that puts that in place. And so far everything's fitting according to our drawings, which is excellent. We also want to move the partition. We want to increase an interior partition, so I'm going to draw another line using the L command, and we'll just draw this at, I don't know, 5 inches thick, and we'll drag it in because 5 inches is typically a 2x4 stud wall thickness. And now we can drag this back. So there's our wall, but you'll see that nobody in a wheelchair can actually fit through there. So I'm going to use the stretch command. I'm going to highlight and hit enter, and we'll drag back. Excellent. So now if we move our wheelchair circle, looks like he can fit through there, but he won't be able to turn around. But that's okay. He doesn't need to be able to turn around at every location in the drawing. He just needs to be able to turn in the main spaces. But it looks like he'll make it through there. That's okay. We might want to revise this glass block wall in a little bit. And we'll do the same for this wall as well. drag it out to the extension there, 5 inches. Bring it in, and we'll trim again. Alright, so now as far as our countertops go, we're going to use the offset command again, and we'll offset 1 foot 7 inches. That's these are all values that I've looked up beforehand off screen, and that's what we'll use. So now you can see this is starting to interfere with this wheelchair turning radius, so we'll terminate it a little bit early. We'll stop it there, and we'll, I don't know, up here is good, being rough around the edges a bit. But alright, we'll use all these as cutting lines, and we'll trim that. And let's make an identical one on the other side. So the way we'll do that is use the mirror command. We'll just reflect right across the drawing. See, so that what that is, we specify geometry and set up a line of reflection, a line of symmetry, and it reflects across the other side. And we'll also drop a sink in there. So we've already got a sink block set up. No, maybe we don't. Alright, so we don't have a sink set up. I'll set that up again later. But yeah, so we're starting to build this, and this is the way that we think about the bathroom as we go. So we do need a toilet, so let's drop that block in. It's WC. We'll drop that in. You'll see that we probably want this against the wall, so we're going to rotate that. We're going to use RO as the shortcut there. Use this as our base point, and we'll rotate to that. And now I'm being just rough and dropping things in. We'll refine this again later, but that's the general location that we want for the toilet. I also have a block for a sliding door that I prepared. Track door. We'll hit OK. And there you go. So right there's a good spot for that. We'll kind of push it off the wall a little bit. We can see how that's going to close off the space between the public party spot and the actual bathroom function. So this is how you can see it's really starting to take shape, right? We'll change our layer on these to there you go. So for casement, those are things like casework. Those are the cabinets. So we'll change these to that layer, right? And this is just generally how you build up your drawing. You have to start rough, so we eyeballed a few things like these dimensions, but overall we're just starting to get things into the computer, into a scale, and making sure that things don't conflict. We want to make sure that this wheelchair radius doesn't present problems, and you can kind of see that in this restroom area, in the WC area, that might become a problem, right? He doesn't have the necessary room to turn around clearly, so we might have to redesign this wall a bit. But this is how you can see we build up our drawing from just an outline and begin to work out details like that.